You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
Welcome to the Hot Options Report, your premier source for insight into the fast-moving options market. Each day, we'll track down the products that are dominating the options chains and impacting your trading account, from Nvidia to VIX and everything in between. If it's lighting up the options tape, then you'll find it on the Hot Options Report.
All right, everybody, that music means we are back on this Thanksgiving Eve, November 26th. To break down some markets, shall we? My name, of course, Mark Longo from theoptionsinsider.com, as well as from the network upon which so many of you are mainlining these days. A couple of reminders here at the top of the show. First off, wherever you're getting this show, make sure you're subscribed to our full podcast network. And then, of course, if you want to go big or go home, why go home? Your relatives are there. It's Thanksgiving week. Hang out with us. Theoptionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go to get access to all of that cool stuff we have popping off over there, including get your name in the hat. Month is coming to an end, listeners, if you want to win the November Pro Trading Crate. And of course, because we like you, we made the data we use for this show available to all. The Hot Options Report.com is the place to go to kick the tires and light the fires. If you are even remotely curious about the options market, and you're listening to the show, so you must be. You owe it to yourself to check it out, see what Nick and his team have built for you over there, thehotoptionsreport.com. You literally can't forget the URL. Check it out. I think you're going to like what you find. Let's see what we find, though, in the markets today. Was it an active Thanksgiving Eve? You know, not usually a rock'em sock'em robots day. People are usually heading off the floor early on days like this. Today, decent bit of activity out there, all things considered. VIX coming in today, closing 17.19 in the cash, off about $1.33 out there, putting up a little over 750,000 contracts. So all things considered, that's a pretty active day. The ADV is obscuring that. The ADV is 1.02 million. That's pretty lofty, but 758 on a Thanksgiving Eve is no mean feat for the VIX. The hot option out there today, kind of an interesting one. 60,000 of the D's 37 calls. Average price for these, 26 cents. That was opening flow, so we like to roll the bones on some pretty sizable D's upside for about a quarter, listeners, in which case, D's 37s are your huckleberry as we keep on rolling out to SPY. SPY closing today up nearly 0.75%, closing 679.68, putting up another banger out there, 11.6 million contracts. Again, if I just looked at these numbers without any calendar in front of me, I would never guess that it was Thanksgiving Eve. It's a rockin' day out there, listeners. The ADV is 10.4 million, blowing that away yet again. The hot option in SPY land, again, these numbers are wild, 901,000, so almost a million contracts just in one option in SPY today, listeners. There's whole products that don't do a million contracts amongst all their months and strikes. You can name a ton. So 901,000 contracts in the SPY, 681 calls today. That's wild. Average price for these was 56 cents. Obviously, if you rode these through the close, maybe not the best do, but you had opportunities intraday if you bought them to get the heck out of Dodge. SPX also up about 0.7% today, closing 68.1261. Again, exceeding expectations, putting up about 4.75 million contracts against an ADV of 4.6 million. So surprisingly spicy in the S today as well. And the hot option out there today, 207,000 of these 6830s. Average price for these about $3.40. We did kiss that level in the cash earlier in the session, listeners. So have to imagine these went up probably around that time if you rode them into the close. Maybe not the best trade, but hopefully you had some opportunities to get the heck out of Dodge. As we keep on rolling out to small caps, small caps have been the story of the week. You just heard about it if you listen to the futures rundown, listeners. Russell 2000, our number one upside mover for the week, and putting up more gains today, up nearly 0.9%, closing 247.30 in IWM, putting up 1.8 million contracts. That's just slightly below that inflated ADV of about 2 million contracts. And the hot option out there in small caps today, it was 161,000 of the 247 calls expiring today for about 45 cents. So once again, kind of the at the money strike figuring prominently in the 0-day flow. As we keep on rolling out to the Qs, the Qs have been rocking and rolling of late. Was today yet another entry into that book? The answer was yes, up over 0.9% in the Qs today as well, closing right around 614 and a quarter, putting up 5 2/3 million contracts against an ADV of about 5.8 million. So pretty spicy day out there. And the hot option in the Qs today, 438,000 of these 615 calls. So pretty much at the money, slightly out of the money calls. Once again, figuring prominently, average price for these about 80 cents, listeners. All right. I know the question a lot of you are probably asking, was it a hot day in single name equities? The answer once again was 558,000. Now on a normal day, that wouldn't be much, but if you give it the context of a truncated holiday trading week and everyone leaving to start their worst travel day, I should say, of the year, in that context, it actually looks pretty good. 558,000 is what it cost you to break into the top 10 today. Gets you to our old pal, good old Barrick Mining. Used to be known as Barrick Gold out there, listeners. Closing today, $40.98. Up nearly $2, or about 5%, 4.75% out there. So a good day for Barrick Mining. Now, before you say, wait a minute, what's going on? Why is there a gold miner on our top 10? Well, it's because it went ex-dividend. So once you start taking all that flow out of the equation, the hot option out there today was the D's 40s, 19,000 of those going up today for $1.76. Interesting, it's an at the money strike. Looks like paper sold these, so it could be some aggressive call overriding going on out there today. Looks like they could have been closing as well. So interesting stuff out there. Either way, XDiv putting up a ton of garbage noise paper. But enough to catapult Barrick Mining to the number 10 spot. Number 9, listeners, going out to Robinhood. Robinhood has given up the ghost a little bit of late, well shy of their 52-week high. Gaining some of that back today, though. 128.20, up 12 2/3, about 11% off the news that they just bought the former Ledger X exchange, which was, of course, infamously bought by FTX, and then bought by MAIAX in the bankruptcy. Now, Robinhood buying it, and looks like it's going to be put towards a new event/binary derivatives venue. So that's the hot thing out there right now. So they haven't had their own exchange in the past. They've been sending orders and customers to ForecastEX or to Kalshi. Looks like Robinhood looking to change that. The street liking that news. Up again, 12 3/4 roughly out there today. So a good day, nearly 11%. Big pop for Hood, putting up 603,000 contracts. For the number 9 spot, the hot option out there today, 31,000 of the 125 calls expiring on Friday. They're already worth $3.20, listeners. So if you paid less than that, you're looking pretty good, and that was the case. Looks like they traded for around $2.25. So already looking good if you bought these. As we keep on rolling to number 8, it's Palantir. The market's up, so Palantir has to be up, right? That was the case. Palantir popping today about 2 1/4 or about 1 1/3%, closing 165.77, putting up 609,000 contracts. For the number 8 spot, the hot option in Palantir today, 57,000 of the 165 calls. Average price for these about 267. So once again, kind of an at the money call. That's interesting. Then again, we only have really one shortened session on Friday for these to make good. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get there. Number 7, it's the Amazonians, 229.16 out there, listeners. That's where it closed. Actually selling off a little bit today, off about $0.50 or about 1/4%, putting up 647,000 contracts. For the number 7 spot, the hot option out there today, 37,000 of the 230s. Average price for these, $1.62. Once again, pretty close to the at the money strike, so won't take much of a move for these to pay off if you are indeed buying them. And then Alphabet, Class A. I didn't know it could sell off, but it looks like taking a little bit of a turn to the downside after a tremendous run post-Buffett, post-Nvidia AI chip rumors out there. Alphabet Class A closing today, a little bit shy of 320, 319.95, off about $3.50, or a little over 1%. I think the bulls will be happy with that. They've had a good run. 656,000 contracts. We're the number 6 spot. The hot option out there today, 40,000 of the 325s. Average price for these, $1.21. Stock got up there earlier in the session, obviously. So if you have these now, maybe you're a little bit concerned. Again, you got half a day on Friday for Google to make the move that you need. As we keep on rolling to number 5, it's the monster, finally showing some signs of life after just being hunted with torches and pitchforks for seemingly ever now. The monster rallying back today a little bit. Closing today, 175.64, up about $3.50, or exactly 2%. Putting up 713,000 contracts on the number 5 spot. What was the hot option out there in the monster, aka MicroStrategy, aka strategy? It was 37,000 of the 190 calls. Average price $365. Now you might say that's insane, 190s, but these are not going out this week. These are actually going out next week. So they're buying themselves a little bit more duration. Is that enough? Can the monster recover 15 handles plus the call premium by this time next week? I guess we shall find out, listeners, as we keep on rolling to number 4. It's AMD. 214.25 is where this one went out, up a little over $8, or about 4%, gaining back. They've been taking a shellacking over the last week as well, gaining some of that back today, putting up 715,000 contracts. For the number 4 spot today, the hot option in AMD land, 47,000 of the 215 calls. Average price for these, about $2.25, so pretty close to the at-the-money strike yet again. We'll see if AMD can make that final push on Friday to pay these off. As we keep on rolling to number 3, it's the Fruit Company. They've been on a tear of late, hit a new 52-week high this week. Closing today, 277.55, up about 60 cents today, or about 0.25%. Putting up 750,000 contracts. Today, the hot option out there, 116,000 of the 280s. Average price for these, 68 cents. Can Apple get back there? By the end of the week, we shall see, listeners. Number 2, you know what it is probably by now. It's Tesla. They've been moving all over the place this week. They're up, they're down. Today, they are back up a little over $7, or about 1.75%, closing 426.58, putting up 2.25 million contracts today. The hot option out there, 153,000 of the 425 calls. So splitting the uprights. It's been 420s all week. Today it's the 425s. $3.70 for these. So not giving them away, but they are about $1.50 in the money already. So bear that in mind. Can we get the rest of the way by Friday? We shall find out, listeners, as we keep on rolling to the number 1 spot. You know it, you love it, maybe you hate it. It's Nvidia. Come under a little bit of pressure of late, has retreated from about the 200 level back down to sub 180, gaining some of that back today, closing 180.25, up about $2.50, or 1.33% today. Good for the number 1 spot, putting up 2.9 million contracts today, listeners. And the hot option out there on this Thanksgiving Eve, a surprisingly active Thanksgiving Eve, 211,000 of the 182.5 calls. Average price for these, about $1.25, listeners. So once again, if you're buying these, you're looking for a little bit of action to the upside on our truncated session on Friday. Will we get there? We shall see. Unfortunately, no show on Friday, listeners, but we'll be back here on Monday to break down all the action on the next episode of the Hot Options Report. Have a great holiday, and oh yeah, stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.